Have you ever done everything right in your garden and the plants still just sit there? You buy good compost. You water on schedule. You pull weeds by hand. You check the leaves every morning like you are looking after a sick child. But the tomatoes still stall. The peppers look tired. The leaves start turning yellow around the edges. And by the middle of summer, the whole bed just feels worn out. Then you look over at some wild patch near the fence, or a bunch of weeds growing behind the shed, and somehow those plants look stronger than yours. Nobody watered them, nobody fed them, nobody protected them, but they are green, tough, and full of life. That can make you feel like you are the problem, but maybe you are not. Maybe your soil is not missing another bag of fertilizer. Maybe it is missing a signal. We have been taught to treat soil like a container that holds roots and nutrients. But real soil is more than that. It is alive. It holds moisture, minerals, microbes, and tiny natural charges moving through it. And when that flow is cut off, plants may survive, but they do not really take off. Today on Quiet Growth Lab, we are going to look at a simple forgotten trick, using copper and zinc to create a gentle earth battery right inside your garden bed. No machines, no power outlet. Just a few cheap materials, wet soil, and a different way of seeing the ground under your feet. For years, most of us were told that gardening is mostly about nutrients. If the plant is weak, add fertilizer. If the leaves turn pale, add more minerals. If the growth slows down, buy better soil. And yes, nutrients matter, water matters, sunlight matters. But soil is not just a mixing bowl full of plant food. Good soil is a living system. It has moisture, it has salts and minerals, it has microbes. It also has small natural signals that roots can respond to. The problem is, many modern garden beds are too isolated. We build neat raised beds. We fill them with bagged soil. We make everything clean and controlled. But sometimes, in doing that, we cut the soil away from the natural flow that wild plants still get. So the plant has food, but it still feels stuck. It is like having a full plate in front of you, but no energy to get up and move. That is the idea here. Your soil may not be dead. Your plants may not be starving. The circuit may simply be broken. And when you close that circuit again, even in a very gentle way, the roots may start acting differently. The whole bed can feel more awake. Think about holding a handful of damp soil in your hand. It does not look like much. Just dirt, moisture, maybe a few bits of roots and compost. But inside that soil, there is water. There are minerals, there are natural salts, and when those things come together, they can carry a tiny electrical charge. That is the same basic idea behind the old-school science trick, where you stick two different metals into a lemon or a potato and make a small current. Your garden bed can work in a similar way. The potential is already there. It just needs two different metals and a path for the energy to move. When you place copper and zinc into moist soil, then connect them, you create a very gentle DC current. Nothing dramatic happens. No sparks, no shock, no sound. You probably will not see anything at first, but under the soil, something small may be changing. The roots are sitting in that quiet flow, and according to this idea, that soft electrical signal may help them wake up, stretch out, and pull nutrients more efficiently. So the soil is not empty, it is not dead, it already has energy inside it. We are just giving that energy away to move. The nice thing about this method is that it is simple. You do not need a special machine, you do not need an expensive garden kit, and you definitely do not need to be an electrician. You only need two basic materials. The first one is copper. A piece of bare copper wire works well. An old copper pipe can work too. Even grounding wire from a hardware store can do the job. The key is that the copper has to make real contact with the system. So if the wire has plastic insulation on it, strip the ends first. The second material is zinc. The easiest way to get that is with a galvanized nail, a galvanized tent stake, or any simple galvanized steel piece. That outer coating is zinc. When copper and zinc sit in damp soil and get connected, they create a mild electrochemical reaction. That is the heart of this trick. Start small. Try one raised bed, one row of peppers, or one tomato patch. Do not turn the whole garden into a project on day one. Test it first. Watch what happens. Let the plants show you whether it is worth expanding. The setup is pretty simple. First, find the north and south ends of your garden bed. It does not have to be perfect, but get it as close as you can. Once you know where north is, place your zinc piece there. A galvanized nail or a galvanized tent stake works fine. Drive it down into the soil so it feels solid, but leave the top sticking out a little. You need that exposed part so you can connect the wire. Then go to the south end of the bed and place your copper. If you have a small copper pipe, push or tap it into the soil. If you are using copper wire, you can bury a length of it along the edge of the bed or wrap it around a small stake to keep it in place. Now take your copper wire and connect the zinc on the north side to the copper on the south side. This part matters. The metal has to touch metal. If the wire has plastic coating, strip it back first. Twist the wire tight around both ends so the contact is clean and firm. Once that connection is made, the circuit is closed. You will not hear a buzz. You will not see sparks. Nothing will look dramatic. But under the surface, the bed is no longer just sitting there. According to this method, a very gentle current can now move through the moist soil right where the roots are growing. The first place you may notice a difference is early in the season. Think about what usually happens after you plant tomatoes, peppers, beans, or young seedlings. They often go through that tired stage. The leaves droop a little. The stems look soft. The plant just sits there for a few days, almost like it is deciding whether it wants to grow or not. That is normal transplant stress. But in a bed with copper and zinc connected, this waiting period may feel shorter. The roots may start reaching into the soil sooner. The plant may perk up faster. The leaves may stand a little stronger and turn a deeper green. It is not always a huge overnight change. It is more like watching the plant settle in with less struggle, and that is the real point here. Healthy growth does not start with the leaves. It starts underground. If the roots feel active, if they can move water better, if they respond to the soil around them faster, the whole plant changes. You may not see the circuit working, but you may see the plant acting like the bed is finally alive. By the middle of the season, this is where things can get interesting. A weak plant usually shows stress before it completely fails. The leaves get soft. The stems feel thin. The plant looks a little tired, even if you are watering it. And once a plant starts sending out that weak signal, pests seem to find it fast. Aphids, worms, beetles, they always seem to know which plants are struggling. But in a bed with this earth battery setup, the plant may build itself differently. The stems can become thicker, the base can feel stronger, the plant may look less fragile and more settled. The idea is not that copper and zinc magically kill bugs. That is not the point. The point is that a healthier plant is harder to attack. When a plant can move minerals better and build stronger cell walls, it does not become an easy meal. You may still see a few insects. That is normal. A garden is not supposed to be sterile. But a few bugs do not have to turn into a full infestation. This method is really about helping the plant become stronger from the inside, so it does not spend the whole summer begging for rescue. The real test of any garden method is not a perfect spring day. It is July heat. It is August dryness. It is that kind of afternoon where the air feels heavy, the soil dries out fast, and the sun seems to press down on every leaf. That is when you see which plants are really strong. In a normal bed, squash leaves may flop by noon. Cucumbers may look tired. Tomatoes may curl and slow down. You water, and they perk up for a while, but by the next day, they are struggling again. According to this method, plants in a copper and zinc bed may handle that stress better. The roots may grow deeper. They may drink more efficiently. The leaves may hold their shape longer instead of collapsing in the heat. That matters, because a plant under less stress can keep growing, flowering, and produce. Then, near the end of the season, the same strength may help again. The video says healthier plants may build up more minerals and sugars in their sap, almost like a natural buffer against cold. That does not mean they can beat winter. Frost will still win eventually. But if your garden gives you 2 or 3 extra weeks of tomatoes, peppers, beans, or cucumbers, that is not a small thing. For a home gardener, that can feel like the season gave you one last gift. This method is not just about getting a few more tomatoes. That is part of it, of course. Every gardener wants a better harvest. But there is something deeper here. When you grow your own food, even on a small scale, you feel a little more independent. You are not waiting on a store shelf. You are not depending on another bag of imported fertilizer. You are not reaching for chemicals every time a plant looks weak. You are working with what you already have: soil, water, sunlight, a little copper, and a little zinc. That feels different. A plate of vegetables from your own backyard is not just food. It is proof. Proof that your hands can still make something real. Proof that old ideas are not always useless just because they were forgotten. And when you see plants grow stronger with fewer inputs, it changes how you look at the garden. It stops feeling like a chore. It starts feeling like a living system you are part of. That is the real power of this trick. It gives people back a sense of control, one garden bed at a time. Now, do not turn this into a huge project right away. That is where a lot of people get stuck. They hear about a new method, then they try to redo the whole backyard in one weekend. Do not do that. Start small. Pick one raised bed, or 1 row of peppers, or maybe just 2 tomato plants. Put the zinc on the north side. Put the copper on the south side. Connect them with copper wire. Make sure the metal touches metal. Then leave it alone and watch. Compare that bed with the rest of your garden. Look at the leaves. Look at the stems. Notice how fast the plants recover after planting. Notice how they handle hot afternoons. And at the end of the season, compare the harvest. Let the plants give you the answer. Not me. Not a gardening book. Not some expensive product label at the store. Just the plants. If you see a difference, you can expand next season. If you do not, you only spent a few dollars and a little time. But you may be surprised. Because once you see a plant standing stronger in the heat, once you feel a thicker stem in your hand, once you pick fruit that feels dense and alive, it becomes hard to see soil as just dirt again. Soil is active. It is alive. And sometimes, it only needs the right connection. If today's video helped you see your garden in a new way, please like this video, subscribe to Quiet Growth Lab, and leave a comment telling me which plant you would try this on first. Thank you for watching until the end. I truly appreciate your time, and I will see you in the next video, where we keep uncovering the forgotten natural principles hiding in plain sight.